Howdy everyone, I have a problem. So gaming art books, they are probably the best companion to video games upon completing them. Sure, they mostly consist of just concept art, but some include art that has been altered heavily or cut entirely from the final game. Like we get a behind the scenes look to the development process of some of these games. Plus they look extra nice on my shelf. These are usually included with collector's editions of games such as this one, the Deus Ex Human Revolution design work. This was included with the augmented edition of the game. When an art book is included with a collector's edition, it's usually cheap and bare bones, and that's exactly what this is. This book consists of environments and costume designs, and then we have a look at some of the in-game items, and it's done. It's a nice bonus, but I would never put down the extra money for a collector's edition just to own one of these. So on to the next one. Sonic Mania's art book was included with physical copies of Sonic Mania Plus. Sonic Mania is a pretty decent revival of the classic 2D games, and I still need to get around to finishing it. A small pet peeve I have is how this is paperback, but it's hard to complain when this is an add-on to a game that only costs $29.99. The concept art is heavily inspired by the classic Sega Genesis covers, which I love. We also get a good look at some of the original logos along with some storyboards. Towards the tail end of the book, we actually get some short behind-the-scenes passages and some extra character designs. Overall, it's pretty solid for a free art book that came packed in. So now it's time for some weeb shit. This was included with the first shipment of copies of 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim. This is an adventure game with a bunch of real-time strategy segments thrown in. It involves these 13 kids who have access to these giant mechs called Sentinels that can seemingly time travel. That's barely scratching the surface of the story, but if I explain more of this video, we would be here forever. So far, it's one of my favorite games of the decade, and one of the reasons why is the art style. With this art book being an add-on to a base $59.99 copy of the game, it obviously doesn't go very deep into the production of the game. Instead, we basically get a look at the final designs of the main characters and their sentinels, and also a bunch of other random assets from the game. Like, look how good this food is. I do wish that a full-length art book could release for this game, because I would buy it at an instant. But what is considered a full-length art book?
Damn, boy, he's thick, boy!
This is The Legend of Zelda Art and Artifacts, a book with 400 plus pages of exactly what the title of the book claims. Concept and promotional art, as well as in-game artifacts, both real and in-game. I don't know what's up with Link's nose in the early games, but it's just really cool seeing all this art made for all these classic games. I am really loving the Majora's Mask artwork especially. I need to get around to finishing that game too. And of course, here's some art from The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker, my favorite in the series. And here's Minish Cap, a Zelda game that could use a remake. And there's also Twilight Princess. Not my favorite, but I remember the hype around this being a dark, T-rated Zelda game. Like, look at this, it's all bleak and depressing and Link becomes a furry. And on this page, Link is pulling a Cloud Strife. The next section of the book focuses on the designs of the characters of the bosses. I always thought Link was eating something in this picture, like he was eating like a taco or something. That doesn't look like an ocarina, that looks like a blue taco shell. We also get a look at the items from each game.
There's beautiful cocks.
We even get character designs of the NPCs. I love how everybody has their own name. Even the Tingles all have their own names. I hope we get David Jr. in the next Smash game. Oh hey, there's the creepy bug lady from Twilight Princess. And then there's Mallow, the most cursed character in this entire series. And then there's the thick monkey.
That's a thick ass boy! Damn!
And here's some art from Link's crossbow training. Oh, never mind then. And then here's some art from the DS games that I never really got into. And here's Skyward Sword, which I also couldn't get into. Though I should try the re-release on Switch sometime. And then here are the 3DS games, which I actually never touched. And next up is this big timeline of each Zelda game complete with logos, box arts, and release dates. And here's some bonus art too. I remember this Skyward Sword promo being a huge deal, because at the time Nintendo was still reeling from... And then here's a tease for Breath of the Wild, which wasn't out yet at the time this book released. And at the very end, there's a pretty lengthy interview with 4 of the art directors who worked on Legend of Zelda in the past. Overall, this book has about 400 plus pages of pretty solid and nostalgic content, though it did get outdated quick with even more Zelda games releasing afterwards. Up next is this polarizing piece of meat. Who likes walking? I like to walk. I walk like it's my job. Up next is the Art of Death Stranding. This one is complete with a dust jacket and this fancy looking gold lining along all the pages. Overall, I like Death Stranding. Some of the deliveries dragged on for way too long, but I like the story, and I found the gameplay to be pretty original and a bit fun after getting used to it. The quality of this book is pretty top tier. It's got the landscape format, which is something I generally prefer when it comes to art books, and some parts of the pages have this sleek, glossy feel to it. And I love how there are these little cliff notes slapped on too. On top of that, the art is just beautiful. There's a close look at the characters, their clothing, and their equipment. And there's also a look at the BTs, which might be some of the best designed enemies in any game from the past few years. Like, look how creepy this shit is. And this too. And this. There are even some unused BT concepts. Imagine having to go up against these guys. And the art of all the backdrops and locations all look amazing. Like, these are paintings that I would have hung up on my wall. Overall, I'd recommend this book not just if you're a Death Stranding fan, but also if you're just a fan of concept art in general. This makes me want the art book to Hideo Kojima's much bigger work, Metal Gear Solid. Okay, never mind, on to the next book. And finally, we have the Art of Castlevania. So video game adaptations are usually trash. But I have to admit, Castlevania is actually pretty freaking good. The writers and animators managed to take this classic game and turn it into a fantasy series with great characters and world building, along with a satisfying conclusion at the end of Season 4. So what's the problem with this book? Stop putting stickers on books. This isn't GameStop. Why do I own this? The sticker is misleading. Otherwise, the sticker wouldn't be on the box. So it's not new, it's used. Just fuck stickers. Though once I open it up, the book becomes impressive. The first half of the book focuses on the characters. We see the character concept art with all these behind the scenes production notes. Look how retro everyone looked. They all look like something out of a Saturday morning cartoon. And throughout the book we have storyboards from certain scenes thrown in. Hector's dog also got to make an appearance. It's actually dedicated to one of the pugs of the artists on this show. And then in the second half of the book, we get exterior and interior shots of the various castles throughout the series. Overall, this is a pretty solid book as well. So yeah, art books are pretty awesome, but I think I'm gonna settle down on buying more. Wait, hold on, let me get that. Yeah, this art book addiction isn't going away anytime soon.